Today we're talking about whether or not you should reset with the expeditions in Arc Raiders. Now this is something they've been wishy-washy on from the beginning. I think they still don't have a good idea on how they want to handle progress resets in Arc Raiders, and based on how, what we know about Embark, they're probably going to be experimenting a good bit, seeing what people think, reacting to those, what the community responds to on those decisions, and probably be quite flexible on what they do going forward. But since it's the first reset, this is something that you definitely want to consider because there are some benefits and some downsides to doing the reset progress. Now you have about 2 weeks left in order to complete your project and do the expedition. So if you're planning to do it, you will want to get the whole project done over the next 2 weeks. There are some really hard points on some of the materials you have to gather that take a while, or they're kind of rare. And so you want to, if you are planning to do it, go ahead and start pushing it along if you haven't already. But the big crux for a lot of people here is going to be the difference between what will be reset and what will be kept. We know that a lot of your prestige and cosmetic progress is going to be kept, right? So unlocked maps, you don't have to, when you restart over, you won't have to go through 20 raids or whatever in order to actually get the maps. You'll be able to play Stella Montis and Spaceport and all of that right away after you reset. The workshop stations will be unlocked, but you'll notice that the workshop will be unupgraded from the reset there as well. You won't lose any of your currencies, your premium or soft currencies here, like with your Raider creds or your Raider tokens. Those are the things that you need for the battle pass as well as buying premium items in the shop. But you will lose your dollars, the things you use to buy in the shops and things like that, like the actual vendor shops. Your Raider deck progress will be kept, leaderboards, trials, cosmetics, personal event progress and contributions and all that stuff, as well as the bonus skill points earned from expeditions and bonus stash slots earned from expeditions. And this is going to be the big thing right down here at the bottom. Bonus skill points and bonus stash slots. Now we have this comment from one of the community managers, and I got to preface this to say that community managers are the people that facilitate information and disseminate it to the community and interact with the community. However, one misnomer about community managers is typically they're not decision makers on the project, which means that even if the decision is made from director level or anything above on what's going to happen, those decision makers can change their mind and there's nothing that the community manager can do about it. So even though we have the response here of the community manager saying skill points and stash base bonuses are permanent, meaning they won't be lost, and if you keep doing expeditions over and over time, you will start accruing large amounts of skill points and large amounts of stash base bonuses. The numbers are kind of hidden right now. This is kind of what a lot of people have to think about of the benefit for doing the resets over time, which echoes the in-game screen here of bonus skill points, bonus stash slots. However, the major downside with the expedition reset is you will lose your stash upgrade progress. This is not the bonus stash slots that you'll get from the expedition. This is when you pay the currency in order to upgrade the size of your stash. This will be reset, which means you'll go back down, what was it? It was like 96 or 72 or something, the very start of your stash space size before you started upgrading it for the very first time. Your inventory items will be gone, so anything you own will be gone. All of your blueprints, and this is probably the worst one of all since blueprints are A, entirely random, and B, exceptionally rare. There are some good strategies for farming blueprints and doing stuff like that, but losing blueprints is going to be major. Losing things like the lure grenade, smoke grenades, even like wolf packs, like snap hooks, like some of the weapons, like whatever your favorite weapon is in the game, having the blueprint for that. Those are things that are going to hurt real bad when you lose them. You'll lose your player level, so you'll reset, which means you'll have to start upgrading your skill tree and stuff like that. Your skill points, your Raider Den, your workshop, and all the quests will reset as well, which honestly, there are some decent quests that have good rewards, but I feel like the quests are not as impactful as I was hoping before the game actually came out. So those kind of the big things there. Now, the next thing that we're talking about for the expedition, if you didn't know already, is the coins aspect. And that is, they've confirmed that the amount of currency, the amount of coins that you have on your account when the reset happens will give you a scaling bonus result on the rewards that you get from that expedition. So it is worthwhile in order to fill out your stash space, the value of your stash, and also earn as much currency as you can as you're moving forward through the expedition process. So right now, not only are you trying to finish your projects and get everything turned in for the expedition to be ready, but you also do want to be grinding the amount of coins that you have and how you use the stash space and trying to fill up your stash with the most value value that you possibly can right before reset, because that will allow you to get more bonuses from the expedition. I think a lot of players are probably going to take the pragmatic approach of skipping the first expedition just to see how things go, right? They don't want to lose their blueprints. They don't want to lose their stash value. They don't want to re-upgrade or do all the quests again. And I think that's the main reason why they made it opt-in. Like, it's optional. You don't have to reset if you don't want to. And they're trying to provide a formula of good incentives and rewards to go through with the expedition so that you actually get some return on that progress for the downside you're getting of losing your blueprints, losing your coins, resetting your stash, resetting your upgrades, doing the talents again, leveling to level 75 again, which for some is going to be super exciting, but for others may not be so. Another thing worth considering as well is that since this is an opt-in reset, you're also going to have situations where not everyone gets reset at the same time. One of the best parts about league-based resets in other games like ARPGs or looter shooters or extraction shooters that do this regularly is that everyone's on the same playing field. However, one of the unique downsides to doing the opt-in version of this, the pros are really obvious, that people that don't want to do it don't get forced into losing everything and potentially quit the game forever because they lost all that value. But the other downside is that some people are not going to reset, which means that you may reset, you'll lose all your talent bonuses, security breaches, stamina recovery, loot and reveal speed, vaulting speed, all of those like really important things that help your character move through a match, but you're also going to be kind of poor. You won't be like loaded out with Survivor Mark IIIs over and over with all your favorite weapons with tons of attachments and all of that. You're going to be reset, where some people might be rolling into every match with a Tempest 4 fully kitted out with maximum armor, maximum everything, and you're sitting there with a free kit. Now, for some people, that's not going to matter because they play free kit anyways, but it is something worth considering. And I have to imagine over the next week, like the next probably 7 to 10 days, we'll get some more finalized details on what this is actually going to look like. And I know some people are probably on the fence of wondering, what is this bonus? This is going to be like the linchpin for them on whether or not they do it, is how many bonus skill points do we get? How big does the stash slot get? Because personally for me, even though I understand the idea of garbage collection and constantly, consuming your own items and things like that without hoarding a bunch of stuff, I do still feel like the stash is a little bit too small for what this game is. And I also feel like some of the items like key cards and stuff that have one size stack limit, they just get so they just pile up all over the place and your stash gets really small. So in the long run, if you feel like you're going to be playing Arc Raiders for a long period of time and playing it regularly, these bonus skill points and bonus stash slots could actually be super impactful. The devil is in the details there, right? So like if I said that you would get 1 extra skill point for losing everything, including your blueprints, you probably wouldn't do it. But if I gave you 100 extra skill points for resetting, then you would obviously would. And so there's going to be a median value there that actually is meaningful, especially if those are impermanent, right? Say you get, if we're on the conservative side, say you get 3 extra skill points and like 5 to 10 extra stash slots permanent every time you do an expedition, which means every, quarter, every 90 days or so, you do an expedition, you complete it, you turn it in, and your stash is consistently growing so that after a year or two of playing Arc Raiders and doing every expedition, your stash is getting bigger and bigger and your skill points are getting higher and higher. Now, they may at some point stop offering that as a reward to be able to encourage people to do it, but it's possible that we actually reach a point where you can start filling out multiple skill trees. Like maybe you can max out mobility and max out the green side of the tree in order to get the max value, or maybe you can get the crazy stamina recovery along with security breaches, which even after the nerf are still worthwhile. Getting those breakpoints of getting more and more skill points could actually be beneficial. And also, at least from my standpoint, means that they probably aren't planning to make the skill tree stronger, right? There's definitely a lot of things in the skill tree right now that feel like they're super underwhelming. They're not super strong. They're not super interesting. And if we start increasing the amount of skill points that people get permanently and in perpetuity, then that actually means that eventually you're going to get all of them, which means that because we're losing that opportunity cost of choosing one side of the skill tree over the other, this actually means that no matter what, they can't really buff it too much, because then the people that are doing expeditions over and over and over will eventually start eclipsing the people that never do, and that becomes kind of a balance problem going forward. Now, there's definitely people that play the game a lot right now and are complaining about content, and regardless of whether you decide to do the expedition or not, I think the people that are fiending for content right now, the expedition is a good opportunity, right? Because you reset, you have a bunch of, like, you're literally, you know, you're ground zero. You got to go find all your blueprints again, and you got to go do all your quests again and all that stuff. It gives you something to chase after. You are repeating it again, but obviously it is something to go after, and you get some kind of bonus there. Now, those are the permanent bonuses that we've talked about, the stash space and the skill points, but there are temporary bonuses that we haven't covered as well. Now, those aren't finalized. We've seen some notes for community managers, which I don't really want to propagate because it sounds like, again, they're very wishy-washy on this until we actually get like, here's what's happening sort of thing in the next week or two. Then it's going to be a little bit more straightforward to call that. But they have in the past mentioned that they want to play around with like special, like, expedition limited bonuses like XP. So maybe right after you do the expedition reset, you get a major bonus to XP for the duration of that next season, that next reset for the expedition. Now, part of that is kind of a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy, I guess, because since if you're max leveled now, you have no need for XP. If you reset with the expedition, you then created your own problem, and now you're solving your own problem by increasing your XP gain. But they've also floated other ideas, like other bonuses, other benefits, other things that you could gain, like being able to have like, small limited bonuses for that. But I think they generally probably want to make it so it's not gameplay impacting to a major degree. So it probably is going to be like a personal preference choice. But I'd love to hear from you. Are you planning to do this? I'm very curious to see what the community is thinking. I know some people are on the side of, I'm never going to do this. I don't want to lose my blueprints. I'd rather go up in value and strength rather than reset and lose everything. There's definitely people that are on the fence and just waiting to see how good the bonuses are, to see if it's worthwhile to play. I know some of those people that are on the fence are probably like, there's definitely people that have gotten a good amount of time out of Arc Raiders and might be falling off from it. Like it's not their core gameplay loop. They don't like the way it's set up. I've heard a lot of complaints about, obviously the PvP aspect and dealing with other players and the different kinds of interactions you can have with players out topside as well. And there's definitely people that are hardcore, like they're gonna do it. They've already finished their expedition. They're ready to go. They're ready to reset. They're excited to get what they need from it. And they're just gonna keep doing it every time. And even just the small morsels that they get from the bonus stash space and bonus skill points is enough for them to want to start over and do it again. And it gives them something to do and something to play. Let me know what you think about this and what your plan is for the expeditions down below in the comments. Now, aside from the expedition departure window, we are now officially in December, which means that these other things are coming along from the roadmap as well. A new battle pass / raider deck, new quests as part of that as well, a new Flickering Flames event, which is probably going to be similar to the community unlock event that we had for Stella Montis, as well as a new snowfall map condition. I actually think that they have a lot of freedom and liberty right now to add a ton of new snowfall map conditions, even some of the ones that are in right there right now, like the electromagnetic storm or some of like the husks and stuff. In my personal opinion, unless you're pushing trials really hard, they're not super impactful, and they can add a lot more of those. But I love the fact that they add things like the matriarch, the harvester. Those feel really different and unique. And I also just like the nighttime raids and the night raids and how they feel, especially on Stella Montis, where things just go absolutely crazy. So we're going to see snowfall map condition coming online in a couple weeks here as well, the expedition departure window, and then this Flickering Flames event, which we'll find out more probably in the next week or two, figuring out what this actually means and what it means for the game. And they did kind of tease that there would be some other things. There were some rumors and leaks about possibly another new map separate from Stella Montis. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen, but it certainly could, and they could surprise us with it. Obviously, they might bring out new consumables like they did with the Deadline, new weapons and bringing those out as well, and potentially new arcs as part of that too. But a lot of this isn't super official. It does seem like it's credible, but I don't want to propagate it if it's just speculation at this point. So super exciting stuff happening. I hope you're enjoying Arc Raiders. I'm having a blast with it. I play it every day at this point. It's a lot of fun. So let me know what you think about December and also what your expectations are going into January as well. There's a lot of things about the game that still need to be improved. Glitching through walls, getting stuck in places, falling through the map. The spawn situation is easily one of the biggest problems the game has right now, but let me know where your head is at on those things. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.